Welcome to the Shigeaki podcast, where science and longevity come together to help you live longer, move better, and age with strength, one wise choice at a time. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and today I want to start with a question that might seem simple on the surface. What kind of meat are you eating every week? For many of us, meat has always been a symbol of strength. It's tied to the idea of energy muscle and nourishment. And yes, in the right form, meat can absolutely support your body. But here's the problem. After the age of 60, your body no longer processes meat the same way it did when you were 30 or even 50. Digestion slows, liver and kidney function become more sensitive. Your blood vessels and joints are more reactive to stress, including stress that comes from food. And unfortunately, some meats, especially those that are common, cheap, or heavily processed, can quietly work against you. They may taste comforting. They may be part of your routine. But over time, they can leave you feeling heavy, inflamed, and out of sync with your body.
That is something I've seen again and again, Mark. I'm Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, and in over a century of observing how people age, one thing has always stood out to me. It's not the meat itself, it's how we prepare it, how we eat it, and what we eat it with. In Japan, we don't fear meat, but we also don't treat it casually. We approach it with care, we cook it gently, we pair it with vegetables, herbs, and thyme, because meat is concentrated energy, and when you're older, too much intensity can burden the system, not support it.
That's so important. Meat can either help you rebuild muscle, reduce fatigue, and protect your bones, or it can add stress to your heart, clog your digestion, and inflame your joints. And the difference doesn't always lie in the type, but in the cut, the cooking, and the context.
Yes, many older adults eat meat, thinking it's helping them, but they've never learned to listen to how their body responds. They eat too much of one kind, cooked the wrong way at the wrong time, and wonder why they feel bloated, stiff, or exhausted.
So, in today's episode, we're going to simplify it for you. We're going to share the worst kinds of meat habits for people over 60 and why they cause silent stress. The best meat options you can eat every day that truly nourish your heart, brain, and metabolism, and how to prepare, portion, and time your meals so that meat becomes medicine, not a mistake.
We won't overwhelm you with science. We'll walk you through practical insights you can use today, even if you're not ready to change everything.
If you're over 60 and still eating meat like you did at 30, this episode is your invitation to shift, gently, intentionally, wisely. And if you find this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with someone you care about. Because your health is built one bite at a time, and it's never too late to eat with more wisdom. Let's start with one of the biggest culprits in the modern diet: processed meats. We're talking about bacon hot dogs, deli ham, sausages, salami, the kind of meats you find neatly packaged in the supermarket or served at breakfast buffets. They're convenient, they're flavorful, they feel nostalgic. But for people over 60, they're often a silent threat. Why? Because these meats are preserved with nitrates and nitrites, which are chemicals used to enhance flavor and shelf life. When cooked or digested, these compounds can transform into nitrosamines, substances that have been linked to increased risk of colorectal cancer and other forms of inflammation-related disease.
And Mark, it's not just about cancer. These meats also tend to be extremely high in sodium and saturated fat, a dangerous combination for older adults. When your arteries are more fragile, your kidneys more sensitive, and your blood pressure harder to manage, processed meats quietly accelerate wear and tear inside the body. Over time, regular consumption can contribute to stiff blood vessels, water retention, increased risk of stroke, and even fatigue due to chronic low-grade inflammation.
Here's the truth: these meats are engineered to taste addictive, not to nourish. They're packed with preservatives and additives your body no longer tolerates well as you age. But what if you still enjoy them occasionally?
Then cook them with caution. First, avoid deep frying or pan searing until crispy. When you burn these meats, you multiply the formation of harmful compounds. Instead, if you must use them, try gently boiling or steaming them first. This can help release some of the salt and grease, making them easier for the body to process. And always pair them with high-fiber vegetables, raw greens, carrots, cabbage, or even sauerkraut. Fiber helps trap excess fat and bind toxins, reducing their absorption.
I love that approach. The goal isn't perfection, it's better balance. And small changes in cooking method can lower the risk significantly. Now, let's talk about another dangerous category that shows up in a lot of senior diets, especially for those living alone or relying on convenience foods, canned meats, and shelf-stable meat products. This includes things like Spam, potted meat spreads, and even some prepackaged jerky or meat bars.
Yes, and the issue here is often twofold. These meats are usually extremely salty, often containing 800 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving, and they contain trans fats or hydrogenated oils, which contribute to fatty liver insulin resistance and inflammation. For older adults, especially those with high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, these meats may taste like a quick fix, but they're actually making recovery harder.
So, how do we reduce the harm if someone must use them from time to time?
Again, start with the label. Look for varieties marked low sodium or no added nitrates. Then, before cooking, rinse the meat in warm water. It may sound odd, but it helps remove surface salts and preservatives. And never eat these meats on their own. Instead, serve them in a soup with vegetables and broth, or with brown rice and leafy greens. These combinations help buffer the sodium load and improve digestion.
Exactly. Canned meats are designed for long shelf life, not for long life. But with a little thought, even a less than ideal food can be made less harmful. Now let's talk about a category that many people, especially older adults, still see as a staple of strength: grilled red meat. We're talking about seared steak, barbecue ribs, charred beef, and anything cooked over high flames or open fire. These dishes may look delicious, but what happens to the meat when it's exposed to very high heat is far less appetizing.
Yes, Mark. When red meat is cooked at high temperatures, especially when it's charred or crispy, it produces compounds called HCAs, heterocyclic amines, and AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These compounds are toxic at the cellular level. They can increase oxidative stress damage, DNA, and trigger chronic inflammation, particularly in older adults who already have slower detox and repair systems.
Exactly. HCAs and AGs are linked to a wide range of issues, including arterial damage, joint inflammation, and even cognitive decline. For someone in their 30s, the body might compensate, but after 60, the ability to neutralize these toxic byproducts weakens. That means a well-done steak isn't just hard to chew, it's hard to recover from.
So if you do enjoy red meat, and many people do, how do you reduce the harm? First, never cook it to the point of burning or blackening. Those dark, crispy edges are where the toxic compounds are most concentrated. Second, marinate the meat before cooking, especially using garlic, ginger, rosemary, or turmeric. These herbs and spices contain natural antioxidants that help block the formation of HCAs and AGEs. Third, consider switching from direct flame grilling to pan searing at medium heat, or better yet, slow cooking methods like stewing or braising. These techniques generate fewer harmful compounds while preserving flavor.
Yes, and portion size matters too. Instead of a giant steak, think of red meat as a side, not the centerpiece. When you combine it with high-fiber vegetables, you're not just improving digestion, you're also reducing the oxidative burden.
And let's move to another popular but problematic protein source: fatty pork cuts. We're referring to things like pork belly spare ribs, or thick cuts that are often cooked with heavy sauces or deep fried.
Pork, especially in fatty cuts, is high in saturated fat, which can raise LDL cholesterol, increase visceral fat, and slow digestion, all of which are more dangerous after 60. The problem gets worse when pork is cooked in sugary marinades, soy-based sauces, or fried until crispy. That combination, fat, sugar, and heat, creates a perfect storm for inflammation.
Yes, it doesn't just feel heavy, it is heavy. For older adults with sensitive digestion or early-stage cardiovascular issues, fatty pork can trigger bloating, acid reflux, even poor sleep due to the burden it places on the liver and stomach at night.
But again, it's not all or nothing. If you're going to eat pork, trim visible fat and gently cook the meat, preferably braised or simmered in broth. This reduces both the fat content and cooking temperature, which lowers the production of harmful byproducts. And always pair pork with soft-cooked vegetables, things like stewed carrots, daikon, bok, choy, or pumpkin. These not only ease digestion, but help balance the richness of the meat.
And one final tip, avoid eating fatty pork at dinner. Late meals of heavy, hard-to-digest meats can lead to restless sleep and sluggish mornings, two things we absolutely want to avoid in aging bodies.
So here's what we've seen today. It's not just what you eat, but how you cook it, when you eat it, and what you eat it with. So far, we've talked about the meats that can quietly wear down your body, especially when they're processed overcooked or eaten too often. Now let's shift to something more encouraging, the kinds of meat that actually support. Healing, strengthen your muscles, and protect your heart, especially after 60. Let's start with something simple, familiar, and incredibly underrated skinless organic chicken, especially the white meat.
Yes, Mark. In Japan, chicken is often the first meat we give to people recovering from illness, not because it's exciting, but because it's gentle, reliable, and efficient. White chicken meat is low in saturated fat, rich in lean protein, and easy to digest, making it perfect for aging digestion and sensitive stomachs.
And it's not just about digestion. That clean protein helps rebuild tissue, maintain muscle mass, and stabilize blood sugar, all critical factors for healthy aging. Plus, unlike many red meats, chicken contains lower levels of cholesterol, which helps support heart health, especially for those managing blood pressure or cholesterol levels.
But of course, how you prepare it makes all the difference. The best way to enjoy chicken after 60 is to steam poach or lightly boil it. Not only does this preserve its nutrients, it also keeps it soft and easy to digest. Once cooked, you can shred it and eat it with brown rice porridge, or toss it into a warm vegetable salad.
And here's something many people overlook. The timing of your protein matters. We recommend having chicken at lunchtime. That's when your digestion is strongest and your body is actively repairing tissue and generating energy for the rest of the day.
That's right. But one thing we always caution against, especially for older adults, is deep frying or breading the chicken. Fried chicken may taste good, but it brings back all the inflammation and heaviness we've been trying to avoid. It's no longer light and it's no longer medicine.
Exactly. When you keep it simple, chicken becomes one of the most versatile and healing proteins in your kitchen. Let's move on to another category of meat that I consider essential for brain health, heart function, and reducing inflammation: wild-caught oily fish, especially sardines, salmon, and mackerel.
Yes, oily fish are deeply respected in Japan. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, which have been shown to lower inflammation, protect the heart, improve memory and focus, and even support mood stability.
And unlike red meats, which tend to be acid-forming, and inflammatory oily fish offer anti-inflammatory benefits, something we urgently need more of as we age.
That's true, and one of the best things about these fish is that they're often small and low in toxins. Sardines and mackerel, for example, don't carry the same mercury risk as larger species.
So how do we enjoy oily fish the right way? First, don't fry them. Instead, grill them gently or pan-sear with olive oil for a few minutes until cooked through, no blackened edges, no smoke. Second, pair your fish with steamed vegetables, miso soup, or seaweed, all of which help the body absorb the healthy fats more efficiently.
And one more thing, frequency matters. Aim to eat oily fish 3 to 4 times a week. It doesn't have to be a huge fillet. Just a small piece with lunch or dinner is enough to reduce inflammation and support circulation.
And try eating your fish at midday or early evening. Too late at night and the fats may feel heavy, but earlier in the day your body can fully benefit from their healing properties.
And remember, if you don't like fresh fish, good quality canned sardines packed in olive oil, no added salt, are still a wonderful option. They're affordable, accessible, and incredibly nutrient-dense.
So to recap, organic skinless chicken gives you clean protein to rebuild and restore, Wild-caught oily fish provide healing fats to calm your body and sharpen your mind. Let's keep going with two more meats that can make a big difference for older adults, not just in how they feel after eating, but in their long-term strength focus and metabolic health. The first one, grass-fed lean beef in moderation.
That may surprise some people. Beef often gets a bad reputation, but like many foods, it depends on the source, the portion, and the preparation. Beef from grass-fed cattle is very different from conventionally raised beef. It tends to be lower in total fat, higher in omega-3 fatty acids, and richer in micronutrients like iron, zinc, and vitamin B12, all of which are essential for blood health, energy production, and cognitive function.
Yes, and here's something important. As we age, our ability to absorb vitamin B12 often declines, and low B12 is linked to fatigue, poor memory, and even balance issues. That's why small portions of high-quality beef eaten wisely can actually help restore vitality.
But again, how you cook it is everything. We recommend slow cooking methods, gently stewed with root vegetables, lightly braised in a broth with miso or turmeric, or simmered in a low-sodium soy-based sauce. These methods preserve nutrients and avoid the toxic compounds created by high heat.
And skip the barbecue or pan fry. Avoid charring at all costs. We want to nourish the cells, not inflame them.
One more thing, don't eat beef late at night. It's harder to digest than chicken or fish. For older adults, eating red meat at dinner can disrupt sleep or leave you feeling heavy in the morning. The best time for beef lunch or early dinner, always with a generous serving of steamed vegetables or whole grains like barley, quinoa, or brown rice.
Next, if you're looking for a gentle alternative to traditional red meat, one that's rich in nutrients but lighter on the system, consider this organic lean veal, especially from grass-fed, humanely raised calves.
Veal is often misunderstood. People associate it with red meat, but it's actually much lighter than beef. It's lower in fat, contains more tender muscle fibers, and is easier to digest, which is especially important after 60 when stomach acid and enzyme production begin to decline.
And nutritionally, veal is no slouch. It's rich in zinc, selenium, iron, and vitamin B12, all critical for energy, immune function, and maintaining red blood cell production.
But like any protein, it needs to be prepared with care. The best methods for veal stew, it's slowly with vegetables like carrots, leeks, and celery. Pan-sear gently in olive oil, with herbs like thyme and rosemary. Or braise in broth with mushrooms and garlic, which adds flavor without overwhelming the stomach.
One thing we love about veal is how well it pairs with vegetables and grains. A small serving of veal with quinoa, spinach, or pumpkin becomes a deeply restorative meal.
And remember, because veal is more delicate, you don't need large portions. A 3-4 ounce serving is plenty, especially when paired with the right sides.
And don't forget, avoid frying or grilling veal at high heat. That turns a healing food into a harmful one. Stick to slow cooking, gentle searing, and moist heat.
So to recap, grass-fed lean beef in small amounts slow-cooked to support strength and blood. Organic veal, tender, nourishing, easy on the gut when cooked gently with vegetables.
So let's be clear, meat isn't the enemy, but the wrong cut, cooked the wrong way, eaten at the wrong time, can quietly drain your health. Not overnight, not dramatically, but slowly, meal after meal, bite after bite. For people over 60, these quiet drains add up. They can show up as joint stiffness, high blood pressure, brain fog, restless sleep, or poor recovery. And the worst part, you might not even realize it's your meat choices that are holding you back.
In Japan, we believe that eating meat is an art form, not a race for protein. We don't avoid meat. We respect it. We choose lighter cuts, we cook slowly, and we always ask, will this help my body heal, or will it make it work harder? Because at our age, we are not trying to grow bigger. We are trying to stay clear, light, mobile, and calm.
You don't need to throw away everything in your fridge. You don't need to go vegan overnight. But what you can do, starting today, is make one small shift. Try this. This week, choose one worse meat to reduce or eliminate. Replace it with one gentler option, something slow-cooked, skinless, or plant-supported. Eat it with intention. Observe what happens.
Your next 10 years don't depend on a pill or a trend. They depend on how you eat, move, and rest starting now.
And if this conversation helped you think differently, even just a little, then you're already on your way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with someone you care about. Because sometimes one better bite today can mean a better decade tomorrow.